Next, let's talk about this DECKED box. DECKED is a company that's located in Ketchum, Idaho. It's an American company. Everything that they make is made 100% in the United States, as far as I'm aware. And essentially, they produce these boxes that are really fluid drawers. They're pull-out drawers. And they make these things for just about every truck and van on the market today. Each one of these drawers can hold like 200 and 250 pounds. They're watertight, so people have done crazy things with these things. Some fishermen, for example, will put drain plugs in them, and they'll have live fish in these drawers. As you can see, I use mine for slightly different purposes. I'll be honest, the more I use these things, the more I love them. They're complete game changers. So whereas before, all my video equipment, all my miscellaneous crap used to float through the van haphazardly, potentially hitting me or one of my passengers in the head when I hit the brakes, now everything is safely stored in a box. You know, I have like my little hatchet for chopping wood when I'm camping. I have a baseball bat, which is kind of like Sergey's security system. A lot of good it'll do me all the way back here, but you know, I can pretend. You know, just stuff that from a videography standpoint, I can't live without, stuff that I always need on hand. It lives in this box. It's securely stowed. So heaven forbid if I ever get in an accident, all that stuff's not just gonna fly out and pepper me with shrapnel. The other box is just as convenient. This is kind of like my working drawer. And so this is my primary charging station. I have this Anchor Powerhouse battery. This was the first battery I ever reviewed. So there's a little sentimental value. And the other thing I like about this battery is that there's no fan in it. And so if I need to charge something, maybe while I sleep, like a cell phone or some camera batteries, it doesn't keep me up at night. Whereas the other bigger batteries that I'll talk about later, they do have fans, and so they do make noise. So this area right here is my charging station. You know, I have things like light kits with lights that always need to be charged, and camera batteries and drone batteries and cell phone batteries. And in addition to just being very organized, you know, I know that, for example, my light kit is always here, right where I left it. So in addition to that, I can now charge on the go. So I like to make sure all my batteries are charged before I get to a video shoot, but accidents do happen. Sometimes I forget. And now I have the capability of charging everything I need to charge on my two-hour drive to the location. And I think that's awesome. So, you know, I've said it once, I'm gonna say it again. The more I get to know this DECKED box, the more I love it. It just tickles me how organized everything is. I love knowing where everything is. It's in its dedicated spot. And also from a business standpoint, it helps me run my business because everything is easy access. Now, real quickly, since we're over here, I just want to quickly show you a little alteration I made. DECKED, if you feel like you want to use this, if you're watching this and you want to use this, feel free. I basically just cut up an old gym mat, an inexpensive gym mat, and I threw it under here as padding. Most people that are watching this that have some experience with vans know that when you put two hard surfaces together in a moving vehicle, they tend to rattle. And so adding a little padding reduces that rattle. So that's another pro tip. Just make some, you know, cut up an old yoga mat or a gym mat or anything that has some rubberized grip to it. Line the bottom of your deck drawer, and now you just made inexpensive peace of mind. It's not going to drive you nuts. And then also, it's worth mentioning that You know, whoever designed these boxes, they really thought of everything. So you have these little nooks that maybe have a purpose, but for me, the purpose is just keeping random miscellaneous stuff. Like a couple of plus nuts, maybe an Allen key, or this funky thing, which fits on a Manfrotto magic arm. And this thing is a very essential piece that Manfrotto will not sell you by itself. And the trouble is, this thing always falls out of the kind of the tripod that it's designed for. So in years past, I've lost these, I've been devastated, I've had to buy whole new tripods just for this piece. And now I have a dedicated spot for it. I always know where it is. It's crazy as it sounds, this alone almost makes the whole thing worth it. DECKED also produces like these little toolboxes. I think they call them D-boxes. And this particular one just has some random tools, wrenches and such. Also things that you don't want flying through the van. Things that you don't want to keep track of. These boxes fit perfectly in the drawers. And now I know that I always have tools right there. The bigger D-box down kind of further back that has some roadside assistance stuff, a tow rope, a tow hitch, that kind of thing. This other drawer has another big D-box that has extra camping gear. I kind of call that my second bedroom, because if I ever have company and they can't sleep in the van, there's not enough space for them, there's some extra tents and sleeping bags in there, so we can essentially erect another room and everybody's, you know, taken care of. Another great feature of these DECKED boxes is that they're lockable. So they have locks on both of them. And so that gives you more peace of mind and security. When I'm in a city, for example, and I don't want my camera stuff or computer to be stolen, I just lock this, and then I can close this door and lock the van. And now I have, you know, 2 locks keeping my valuables safe. And best of all, if I ever needed to pull everything out and receive another shipment of books, I could do that. This whole DECKED box is relatively easy to take apart, and so everything comes out. And on that note, it's probably a good time to tell you that all of what you see here has been strategically designed to be completely pulled out, because this is primarily a work vehicle. It's my only vehicle. I don't have another daily driver. And from time to time, in addition to the video work I do, I also have books that I publish, and I need to receive a large shipment of books. During those times, I can empty everything out of my van. Now it's as though it's brand new off the lot, completely empty. I can receive several pallets of books. Thus, I don't have to hire a moving truck or, you know, shuck out money renting another vehicle. And so my van remains versatile in that regard as well. Now, granted, with conversion 2.0, this is going to be more time consuming. It's not quite as easy to remove everything, but it's still possible and doable. So that's how I have it all set up. So one alteration that I did make to the DECKED box is I put this green carpet on top of it. And I have to confess, this is not my original idea. I pinched it from a dude named Idorado on Instagram. So Idorado, if you're watching this, I'm giving you credit. Essentially, the reason I did this is because the top of a DECKED box is made out of plastic. Sometimes this can lead to things sliding around, and I didn't like that. I wanted things to be a little bit more grounded. And so I ended up buying some carpet from Costco for 10 bucks. It kind of looks like a lawn. I like the color green. This carpet is also made out of recycled plastic bottles, which I thought was cool. And essentially, I just covered the DECKED box with this carpet to give it a little bit more texture. And this has since accomplished several different things. Number one, things don't slide around as easily, right? There's a little bit more grip. And number two, this has expanded sleeping space. So whereas before I could only sleep people on the top bunk, now I can sleep 2 or 3 comfortably inside. So You know, it's probably not for folks that are claustrophobic, but then again, people who sail on sailboats have less space. People who live on submarines have less space. You know, it's actually quite a bit of room. It comfortably fits 2 or 3 people. And so whereas before I could sleep 2, maybe 3 people, now I could fit 6. And that's awesome to have that capability.